All right, guys, here we're talking about Pushing Daisies, Season 2, Episode 11. And yes, a good amount of stuff happened in this episode.
Things are popping in this episode.
Where do we start off?
We start off with a young Olive at like an adult
Yeah.
party, and I'm like, oh, Olive again time. Okay, because didn't last episode end with Ned's dad again or something like that? Or Ned was like, I'm quitting being like a dealer
Yes.
of death, and then we open on young Olive, and I was like,
But it was kind of nice.
what? Well, because that's what the show does. It does little
They're
squirrely
really
bits
good
to
about
you.
like twisting
exactly,
things all
yeah.
together and doing stuff. So Olive is at a party. Her parents suck. They don't pay attention to her at all.
I forgot how much they suck, but they suck more now, like retroactively. They've added more suck to their parents.
So she goes to run away and gets like kidnapped, but not really. Really, she's being taken care of by two loving older men.
Yeah.
One of them being what is his name? Jack Gallo from Shoot Me.
I didn't look them up. That's
bearded
awesome.
one.
Yes.
The other one looked familiar too, but I didn't clock them from the eyes, and I didn't do any prep and look up shit.
Perfect. We're committed to not doing any prep for episodes of television shows.
Yeah.
That's no, that's good. No, so we should just carry that all the way through, right? They show up, they break out of prison, there's an adventure. Yeah. I felt a little lied to.
Did you?
The narrator is supposed to tell me the facts.
He did say she was kidnapped, yeah.
He says the facts are these, and that's the magic phrase. That Manchurian candidates me into knowing that this is true. Mm-hmm. He very rarely goes back and says, actually, there was more to it, and I was being misleading earlier, right? I don't like that.
It's true, that might have been the first fib.
I know. I feel betrayed by this delightful
British people could lie.
British narrator. No, they shouldn't be able to. They're like Vulcans.
I thought.
And besides that, whatever, because they make it look like she was kidnapped, and then they re-show you all that again where she's not kidnapped. And they're arguing, but instead of arguing about the ransom, they're arguing about like, oh, don't tell her about her parents being, because they keep calling her parents, and they keep being like, who? Like they don't even know that she's missing, type of thing. It's so great.
And that's so fucking bizarre.
It is.
And just how that would work, and how they would actually get arrested, like after telling them off for being bad parents.
Yeah.
When like you'd think at once the police would talk to Olive at all, but I guess at a certain point
that's where
you're like, my daughter doesn't know what she's saying. I'm rich, they're poor, get them out of here.
That's where her like guilt comes in, and she couldn't save him. I was powerless. I'm tiny, and all that stuff. But she eventually smuggles them away with the nuns. They come back, they go on some adventures. We'll fill that part in later.
She's been communicating with them, though, through the Post for years and years, and she's been an adult for years and years. So at any time she could have spoke at their parole hearings, and you'd think got them off.
That's the other weird part, is
she loves them enough to write, but not enough to really help.
Right. Then she says that she's been writing to them the whole time, which I thought was a really limp callback, or trying to rekindle the magic of the windmill episode, where people are writing to each other. Or we have to
love that windmill.
We have to justify characters where they are now and backfill really quickly why they got there. So yes, you've been writing for years. It's like, that does not make sense, as you point out. And they broke out of prison, right? Because, why now?
They somehow broke out of like that, Harry Potter-esque prison.
Yes. But like, what about the status quo change where they had to break out? They might have mentioned it, and I missed it. But I feel like in that scenario, she stopped writing. So then we started digging. Like, you should do some weird thing like that.
I didn't catch any reason as to why they broke out.
I actually want that exact line. She stopped writing, so we started digging. Can we go back and put that in there? Because I feel like that's great. Where she's like, I've been busy. There's been dead people. Oh fuck! Like, have like this awesome. We're like something
would be better than nothing.
Something to incite this whole thing, because it feels like it was just like time for random things to happen.
More or less.
Which is what the show is all about. So I'm okay with that at the end of the day.
But like, they were nice, charming characters.
No, it was good. It was a good romp.
With this type of style, with the show aesthetic, they worked. Kooky Old Man number 1 and 2. I liked them.
Exactly.
We got David Arquette came back.
I know.
For potentially a recurring for as long as the show runs.
For the rest of the show, I think. Yeah. So he was there before. He was a weird dude. He reprised his role as a weird dude, right?
Yes.
In this episode. I loved his line about like, I got a low platelet count and like weird skin. Like, what does he say? Some dumb thing.
How he bruises easy.
And that equals like instant bruising or something. And you're like, okay, that's dumb. I like that. That's a good callback, because he was all weird and sickly and strange and all that stuff. Yeah, he shows up. Actually, they're kind of doing like a lot of tying together, which I like, because he shows up with. Pigeons, doves,
as a present
birds.
For they were the great Salazars, or what the fuck his name was.
For Ned's brothers and all that stuff, and you're like, oh, okay.
So we might see them one more time.
Yeah, before the end of the show forever. And they all go on the romp together, like we're talking about, trying to get the escaped dudes, over the border. Which border? Where are they?
I'm
Are
not
they in
exactly
Seattle?
sure where the nuns
Canadian
were,
border?
but presumably Canada? I don't know. Where are they? Colorado? Where are they?
I don't know where they are.
I don't know. They're mountainous and beautiful wherever they are in their fictitious land of who is it, what's it?
There's a lighthouse. It must be the Northwest United States. They probably said it 100 times and we just don't know.
I have no idea.
Okay. But the main conflict here with our main characters from before is that Ned is like, I'm done with this shit. I'm not doing this anymore. And Emerson has a case.
Yeah.
Right?
A case that would be easily solvable if he had Ned to touch the bodies, but he doesn't. But he has one previously dead girl to assist him, or for him to assist her, depending on which person's point of view you'd like to see.
Yeah, make me the sidekick.
Yeah.
There's a scene. So, like, they go off together. We've talked about this on and off, back and forth. So, like, Olive was with Ned for a bit.
Yeah.
And then Olive was with Emerson for a bit. And they're switching it up, which I like in theory. But you just kind of hit the nail on the head, which is like, well, I was afraid the season was going to end, and Ned's like, I think I'll start touching dead people again, right? But luckily we didn't have to draw it out into like nothing, because that's not the right way to prolong the show, is to artificially have easily solvable cases not solvable. Yeah. There's a line. So now it's like the Chuck and Emerson detective agency or whatever.
Yeah.
Which is weird because she's like, can I help you? And Olive's right there. And Olive was like, can I help you, to Emerson like 3 episodes ago or something like that, which I called out like, something's weird here. Like, you're right there.
And Olive is not
what's going on?
Untalented in this. So
no.
It's weird. Like, Chuck is more useful potentially because of her language
skills. She's like a spy,
And she's taller, could reach things on tops of shelves.
Tops of shelves.
But they're both competent, and there's no reason not to take them both.
Well, the reason not to take Olive this time is because other characters were about to show up, and that's where the show breaks down for me, where I'm like, oh, it has to feel absurd and like amazing, and like everything had to work out that way. Not like, oh,
when you could
whatever.
introduce the characters and break because of that.
Yeah.
You don't have to break before the character show.
I know, unless, right? Weird.
It's a little bit of writing.
Feels a little sloppy. But there's a line where they're together, and they're like touching each other almost. Okay. And I forget what he says, but it's like, yeah, it's this, yeah, it's that, yeah. And then Chuck goes, yeah, and says it the way Emerson says, yeah. And then he goes, yeah. And then his face stays like a statue of Emerson. And one little beat goes by, and then she cracks up. But they're doing those like sliding door transitions to like hide it. She totally broke on that. I don't know if she did it by accident and they just kept the take, or if like in the script it says Chuck randomly imitates Emerson or something like that. But it was an amazing moment. I love little dumb things like that. And I was like, that's great, the best.
And we have good actors.
Rewind,
in the show that
find
could actually
it.
Act.
Well, I think Shia McBride was just like, I'm just gonna say my line, but then she was like, oh god, she starts like shaking her head and laughing, like, oh no, I'm sorry, or something like that. I was very happy with that, kind of stuff. How'd you feel about them though? Otherwise, solving this case?
I was fine with it. The case itself felt a little odd. So you have this gentleman who's in things. I forget his actual name. He's a comedian. The thing I know him most from is like the X-Files. He played the guy who had the like best luck in the world.
Oh. I looked him up and I was like, oh, he's been in like 150 things. Never mind. Yeah. I probably know him from everywhere.
Yeah. But anyway.
The department store owner guy.
Yes. Dirk Dixon or something like that.
Dick Grayson.
Something. So that dude's wants the company to go out of business.
Yeah.
So his plan, instead of being in charge, not just firing these people, is I'll murder them.
Yes. Because it has to look like an organic failure that wasn't his fault somehow.
I guess.
That could work if you had introduced the other characters to which he's beholden, that he feels like he's trapped in this family business or whatever, right? This was my major complaint too. There have been several episodes now where like the case ends up hinging on some convoluted mineral rights or land deal or some weird thing where you're just like that's not the fun part. Why are you shoving that in and being like, oh, that was this weird motivation?
No, it felt very like, oh, let's just shove that in. And I was like, all right, so he's gonna murder this person and this one and that. It's like, draws a doodle of his own head cut off and like some shit. I'm like, it's very on the nose.
Right?
Whatever.
Yeah.
So I didn't think it was the strongest case we've had so far. But
no.
it was
not the strongest like motivation, as opposed to other things, right? Where like, I'm also a magician, but you favor them over me, and that character's been in like a bunch of scenes, and you go like, oh, right, because we've been seeing that. Yeah. It's fine. Yeah. Anyway, this is like an outside of the
and again, the narrator threw us off because he said, and they didn't know that the real killer was watching, and it cuts to like this one, that one, and this one, but it wasn't. None of them were that guy.
Oh no, the narrator's gone rogue and
Yeah.
is messing with us. Maybe this show should get canceled, Stefan. What do you think?
Well, we should probably do it like at the season finale.
Okay, good.
Let's just not renew it. Let's not cancel it. We just won't renew it.
Should we let him know, or should we just suddenly?
I think we should run it to the end.
Okay, and then wherever they end, that's where it stops forever.
You know, midway to the next season, we'll just be like, it's on the bubble, and then we'll say, we didn't want it.
No. Turns out we've decided against it. We've decided to go in a different direction.
I think that's what we'll do
Okay.
as a punishment for the narrator going rogue.
Well, among other things, we point out a bunch of problems here.
Yeah, well, the writing could be tighter over the course of a couple episodes here. That
The
could make it a
absurdity
little
usually covers it, or like they come up with a fun way to make something out of nowhere or something like that. But I've been noticing a trend of like, oh, and it turned out that you were the secret heir to this or something, and you're like,
yeah.
all right.
Or
that's
even
not...
as simple as like the rhino, bringing the rhino back to life.
Oh, okay.
And him going, all right, this is rule number 1. Check to make sure they're dead. I'm like, do you think the zoo would give you a rhino and you would have a rhino in your car for how
whole
knows how
time,
long
yeah.
without knowing it's alive? And then it bursts out of the truck and Ned's running after it almost immediately. You're like, is that weird? And then Ned's for like a prolonged time like laying on top of the dead rhino again. You're like,
how about the rhino does exactly what he needs it to do? That's not his power.
Yeah,
he can't like control the zombies of like who he raises, right? That'd be nice.
that would be nice.
Yes. So let's get to that, the whole thing here. I liked a lot of this dialogue, a lot of this Clark Kent stuff. And then David Arquette's like, well, if I were Clark Kent, I would like, well, what would you do if you were Clark Kent? I would immediately, rip off my shirt and be Superman. And he's like, oh, crap, right? And it like makes him think about this whole thing. That part I liked.
But what I liked about that also sold the point of the other direction. He's going for the wrong girl. Is that he's going for the girl that likes Superman. He's not going for the girl that likes Clark Kent. When he is Clark Kent, he is not his power. His power is something he can do. So if Olive loves him without knowing anything about his power, she truly loves him.
He doesn't love her back, though.
He might.
Well.
It ended with him being like, he might.
Well, so that's how this whole thing started, right? It opens up with Olive being like, she's researching double negatives because he's like, I wouldn't say never or something like that, right? The whole dumb. That was like a Seinfeldian, she's stuck on this phrase.
He's like a terrible person the way he eventually does phrase it.
Oh God, it's amazing.
He's like, well, I just thought it'd be nice to try it out.
Yeah.
What? You want to have your cake and eat it too, you son of a bitch?
Yeah. She breaks down like, I'm not something you can just try on or whatever. But me as like a mildly, autistic dude was like, well, you knew he didn't really love you. This was just to like put like the ruse onto the old guys.
Yeah.
But he phrased it in the worst possible way, obviously.
Certainly.
Which set her off and all that stuff.
I don't blame her. Yeah. I love the Lionel Richie singing. I like
that
song.
Song. Whenever I know the song, because it's always like a cover or whatever, but the Birdhouse in Your Soul thing from like season 1 and like now this one, like she gets through like the first or second line, I'm like, I actually know this one. This is great. Because usually it's like a show tune or some weird thing that I don't know. But I was like, yes.
So obscure to us, but probably very popular to the people watching.
To like a mainstream audience or whatever.
But yeah, I thought that was nice. Ned cringy in his delivery there. But yeah, very weird. And again, I have to stress that it seemed like he understood, and based on his David Arquette conversation, that is you should go for the person that loves you. And unwittingly, David might have almost been selling the person he likes up the river.
I took it a different way because I thought it, because what does he say? He says Clark Kent doesn't have any relationship. Superman does. Like, because Lois Lane knows, right?
Well,
she always know
the way he phrased it was Lois Lane doesn't love Clark Kent. She loves Superman. She has no interest in Clark Kent. She likes blah, blah, blah. And that is a perfect analogy for what he is.
You could take it the
Being
opposite
the
way,
pie maker, he is displaying his Superman's powers, and he saved Lois, and Lois loves him because he saved her. He is a hero. But Clark is a zero. But Clark is what Ned is when he's not causing people to come back from the life, and that's who Olive actually loves.
Yeah, but he doesn't like her, right? So that's the...
But
you can't just decide to like somebody.
No. But
just because they like you.
The thing is, if you thought about it like potentially as it's being spoken here, is that she being what the fuck's not Olive, the other girl, Chuck, may not love him at all. It could be infatuation with a superhero.
I took it like he really is Superman, and he has to embrace that. and being Clark Kent's no good.
It seemed like maybe he took it that way too.
Right.
But to me, it seemed obviously the other way.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, wait a minute, I don't think you're taking his advice properly. Because I thought it seemed to me like he was trying to pitch him to Olive.
Okay. What you're saying makes more sense if, like, he's been wrestling with choosing between the two women, and then I would totally agree that this is a clear sign you should choose Olive or whatever. He doesn't like Olive. He's like,
well, but again, based on
bitch.
his comments, I've had a feeling, and I don't know what that feeling is.
Oh, well,
jealousy.
okay.
It
ends
internally
that way.
is having the struggle over which girl is right for me.
He did not know that
yet.
yet.
It is Olive.
Yes.
And he didn't also, like, I think I think Olive likes me, this and that. I'm dancing around. I don't want to have to deal with this conversation. But Olive straight up says it, and he knows what she's writing in her innermost thoughts about him, and she wants to be with him, and all these memories and how things went, and how she saw these things happen. She's perfect for him, and they should get married.
I hope the season ends. Well, how could it end with them getting together? I don't know.
Well, how it'll probably end
it's like a Jim and
is
Pam
some
thing.
sort of a miscommunication or a slight admittance that will start a fight, and he'll have nobody. The season will end. Who will he get next season?
And we'll never know. Yeah. No, I totally forgot about it ending on jealousy. So I think it's going to be like Ned, didn't know he had any feelings for, right?
Yeah.
He didn't know that yet.
Well, I'm hoping that the Superman thing weighed in on him properly.
Well, I'm hoping that they'll call back to it and be like, oh, it turns out I'm actually, Clark, right? And he does the flip now. Because he runs in here. I like that scene a lot, too, when he says, I'm back, the pie-making deadwaker, or whatever he says, his stupid thing. I just like him being happy.
A double touch.
Yeah, and like feeling like, I'm here.
That
I'm gonna
one
do the
bitch
thing.
realizing she has no legs.
Yeah. What? What? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I like that where like the thing that's been the pivotal thing for the whole show turns into this throwaway thing because it's in service of something else. Like, I like that a lot.
No,
that
like
little deal.
This was a pretty good episode.
And he has to rush over and like undo him. Really, oh, dude, oh crap, I'm over here. Why am I over there? Oh god. Like he's still very Nedish about everything and all that stuff. There's a line too where I really liked the whole thing, by the way, with Chuck and like Emerson. They have really good chemistry or whatever.
Yes.
They hide as mannequins at one point. I know. But I don't think we've seen them as much, or I just noticed it here being good or something. Mm-hmm. There's a part too, when they were hiding as mannequins was awesome, because the lights turn off and the guy walks away and they go, and like they were just in the crowd of mannequins wearing the same like stupid clothes. There's a part where the coroner's there, on the scene, and he says, right, you probably have it already. I want to make sure that I don't screw it up. How long you think she's been dead? Oh, about $50. It's like, oh no, like he says slick or whatever.
Says,
and the whole mental note thing, whatever.
Gives him the ballpark time. I could be a little more clear on that time for another $20. Yeah. That'll do. I'll remember that next time.
Don't be taking no mental notes on me.
Oh, I meant to note anything I think deserves to be noted.
That guy's been great. He's been fantastic. He's been pocketed away there with like 12 seconds of screen time per episode with little
Sometimes
nice
those
noises.
People are perfect though.
I know.
Like, because just they have it.
Yeah, and he's
like
got
it's
it.
just the taste you need. You don't need any more. He delivers. He's always consistent. I wonder if we'll see him again.
Well, never. Oh, I'm sorry. I just scrolled down slightly to reveal my last little button.
What do you got?
Was Aunt Viv saying tortilla in a stupid accent. I love and hate when people say a ethnic or foreign word and they throw on a little tortilla. She was doing this stupid thing where she emphasizes tortilla. Yeah.
People that like talk like a whole sentence like blah 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 prosciutto.
Mozzarella.
Yeah.
And they throw in the thing.
Like I'm like, oh my god, you may be technically Italian, but you've never been to Italy. You don't speak with an accent. You don't speak Italian. Why is that one word something you must say?
Right. Why do you need this or whatever? And coming from
people that roll R's for certain words, I'm like, come on, man, who are you fooling?
Escarante. Yeah. Wonderful. No, but like coming from that character in that context to be tortilla, I was like, it's so dumb. I was like laughing at it. It bothers me too, but that's why I was like, it's such a dumb trait to give her of all people. Yeah. Who's like, hello, I've got a thing with my tortilla. She's just throwing it in there. I'm like, oh god, what are you doing?
I can honestly see it.
What are you doing? Yeah, it fits in this weird, perfect, dumb way, and like the only thing smoking around here is the Gouda. All that dumb, like their characters and all that. I think that basically covers everything.
That's pretty much the whole episode.
We even addressed the rhino, which I thought was going to be a point.
How many? We have 2 episodes left?
We have 12 and 13.
Okay, so 2 episodes left for things to happen. So we potentially will get to see Ned's dad. We have 2 episodes.
Okay.
That's probably going to get a taste on the next episode and maybe the conclusion in the finale to be some big build-up to lead to something that we'll never see. I do think we'll explore more of Ned's feelings about the girls and where he ultimately will lie with his allegiance. I
think you're right. They're going to introduce a love triangle to be handled in season 3 that never happened. And that may kill me.
I do think Chuck would be better off on her own, away from Ned, to have a more healthy relationship in life where she could actually touch somebody. Olive has a very unhealthy relationship with Ned, but I think that they are good together. I think that would be a thing.
Who was the love interest for the potion person?
The potion person was also Olive.
That wasn't Chuck? Yeah, okay.
No.
Does Chuck have any people out there? Paul Rubens?
That killer.
Anybody? let's
and that's about it.
Make the list? Okay. It would be perfect if there was another right as we build towards this, what we know is the final conclusion of the whole thing.
Emerson.
Yeah! That's weird.
She'll say something like snappy and strict to him and be like,
oh no, oh no, no. Oh.
We'll see. All speculatory. Odds are Chuck is ending with Ned. They're perfect.
Yeah.
Something might happen. The dad might shed some light on something that makes it more possible.
Yeah, that's a great point, because I mentioned earlier in passing, my other last note is like, we still don't see his dad.
Yeah.
Because 2 episodes now in 2 seasons have ended with the narrator saying, but Ned didn't know it was his father. And then it cuts to a dude in a hat and you're like, what? And then they just never come back to it, which is crazy.
Yeah.
So they better come back to it or else I'll be very upset.
All right, guys. So that's this episode of Pushing Daisies. Let us know in the comments what you thought about it. Don't die in a fire, and we'll see you next time.
Hello, internets. I just love watching JustDaggers. If you've enjoyed this video as much as I have, click that subscribe button. Peace out, homies.